Hello everyone and welcome to the first game of the second round, and we will have a look at one very interesting matchup between Dieter Nisipeanu, who is one of the oldest participants, who in 1999 went to the semi-final in Las Vegas in this one of the first knockout event. And as black, Nakamura, who is of course one of the top players for many years. So let's see how it went. Dieter was white, and he started with knight f3, knight f6, d4, which is a bit weird as a move order, because in general when you start with knight f3 you want c4, e6, and some kind of g3, but nothing really strange. d4, e6, c4, d5, knight e3, bishop e7, and we went back to a normal Queen's Gambit, which has been the main weapon of Nakamura for now many years. And now the little move g3, of course, bishop f4 here is the main move. Bishop g5 as well is very common. g3 is a bit more rare, but it's very often transposed to some Catalan. So castle, bishop g2, dc4. This is very standard. Knight e5 just to take back the pawn. So here many moves for black. The first and main move I think is c5 here. Knight c6 is also an option, but Nakamura chose this queen d6, which is a very strange move, because you don't want to develop the queen that early in the game. But it was played, at least the first time I saw it, it was in a game between Peter Widler as white and Vladimir Kramnik as black. So when Kramnik plays something, you generally take it seriously. And what happened in that game, Peter Widler took on c4 with a knight. Vladimir Kramnik played queen a6, queen b3, and after knight e6 it's already, I think, fine for black, and even Kramnik won that game. So after queen d6, now it became of course popular since that game in 2015, and it has been seen at top level on a regular basis. So here Nisipeanu was prepared for this and played castle. So Nakamura went queen a6, which is the idea of this setup, to put the queen on a6. And this bishop being on that diagonal, it makes some sense. I mean, it's not really, looks clever actually. a4. The obvious idea is to play knight b5 to attack here on c7, and later on to take back the pawn on c4. So knight c6, knight b5. This is whole theory and was played in a number of games. He takes on e5, takes back, rook d8, and here comes the novelty, but quite an obvious one from Nisipeanu, which is to take on f6. This of course was, I'm sure it was checked by Nakamura. So he has to take on d1, of course. So let's make, so bishop d6 is the only move, because if you take on f6, I will just take on c7 and collect the rook, and I will have like 2 rooks and 1 piece for the queen, which would be more than enough. So bishop d6 is strictly the only move to protect the back rank mate, sorry, to as well save the bishop, and to protect this pawn on c7. So bishop d6 is strictly the only move. And here let's make a count. White has a rook and a knight for the queen, which is in general not enough, but as you can see there is a lead in development, as these pieces are not developed yet. So white has to act actively here. So bishop f4 makes perfect sense. Of course it's not possible, it's never possible to take because of rook d8 mate. And here Nakamura made something very strange, which is very rare for a player of his caliber. It's basically just a blunder very early, and he played it very quickly, so probably just confused his lines. He played the move e5, which we will see later why it's bad. But he should have played, according to me, I checked a bit this position, and he should have played queen a5, which protects this pawn, as well protects the square on d8, and I think the main line, okay, it's possible for, it's very safe for white, so you can play bishop d2 here, and after queen b6, bishop e3, and black doesn't have a better move than repeating, so it's at least a draw for white. But if they are ambitious, they can try to take on d6 with a knight. If you take with a bishop, it looks nice. Takes, knight takes d6. This knight looks very nice, but after c3, which is a nice move, because otherwise the knight will just stay here, and then you will get a nice line for this rook. So c3 takes on f6, and I think rook b8 followed by bishop d7. I think white has enough compensations, but clearly not more than that. So I think the critical line after queen a5 is to take on d6 here, c takes d6, rook takes d6, takes on f6, and now bishop h6 to have always this mate here. So the only way to develop for black is to play e5 here, rook ad1, and get out with a bishop. Now white has to take a pawn, bishop b7, rook b8, bishop c6, let's say, queen c7, and I think this position, it's clear that white has rook and bishop against the queen, no pawns, but it's clearly enough compensation because of the piece activities, and also this king is stuck here on g8, so this rook is stuck on the 8th rank, so it's not really pleasant for black. But I was checking this a bit, and I didn't really find a way for white to improve the position. So yeah, maybe we will see some more games in that time. Of course, it's not very appealing for black, but I don't think it's enough for white to claim an advantage here. So Nakamura plays very quickly e5, and after knight takes d6, he started to think bishop e5 would just have been the same than in the game. After let's say queen a5, knight takes d6, it would have been just pure transposition, cd6, rook d6, as we will see later in the game. So it was just equally good. Knight takes d6, and here Nakamura could have played. He thought for a long time here, probably realizing that he made a mistake, and he took back, but take on f4 was possible, and here white has a cute knight e8, which attacks this pawn on c7. So there is only one way to protect it. I mean, in a decent fashion. Queen a5, rook d8, of course, threatening checkmate. So takes on f6, which is basically the only move to prevent the mate. Rook ad1. Now I want to take here and collect the rook, so rook b8 is very logical. And now the very clever bishop f3, because if you play very concrete, knight c7, king g7, knight e8, now white has black has king f8, followed by king e7. And it's not so clear how to proceed as white. I didn't find better than a draw. Takes on f6, king g7, knight e8, king f8, and I think white has to take the repetition. So bishop f3 is a very clever move, and now if you king f8, I just take here. Of course, you don't have better options than this, because these pieces are just stuck on the 8th rank. You cannot develop them. So king f8, knight c7. Of course, king e7 would be mate in 1. So you have to go king g7, knight e8. Now two options for the king, but it's just a disaster. King g6, bishop e4 check, which is a very good move. And if king h6, rook 1 d6, and mate will follow soon. I mean, it's a disaster for black. If after knight e8 you play king f8, I just take here, king e7. Of course, if you go king g7, I will go knight h5 followed by rook 1 d6, and it's game over. So you have to go to e7, knight g8, king e6, rook 1 here, and it's just completely winning for white. King e5, rook d5. and you just you are a piece up as white. So that was completely lost. So Nakamura decided to take on d6, bishop takes e5, and now it's 1 pawn plus actually it's not 1 pawn, but it's rook and bishop, but look, this pawn will fall, so soon it will be one pawn, one move. Of course, still not possible to take because of mate. So queen a5, rook takes d6, now it's a pawn, and also a very good control. This king is very weak, so this is basically game over. This pawn will fall because at some point you will have to develop this bishop, but then you will lose that one. And when you lose that one, you don't only lose that one, but this one becomes weak. So this is almost 2 pawns you are going to lose here. Let's see how Dieter converts here. He did it in a very convincing way. Bishop c3, attacking the queen, queen c7, okay, d1, very logical play. g6, and now the small tactic, petite combinaison. Bishop takes b7, very good move. So now it's not only about the pawn, it's about this pawn, and now and after this pawn, as you will see, bishop takes b7. Of course, not possible to take because of check, and it's mate on the next move. So rook f8 makes a lot of sense, and now bishop f3, the safest. Takes on f3, takes on f3, and as you can see, there will be never any perpetual for white, for black. Sorry, the king will just come to g2, and it's just incredibly safe. And now the plan is very simple: put this pawn on a5, collects this pawn, and push this pawn. Very easy, and the black rook is tied to the defense of the 8th rank. So this is just, and the queen has no. The black queen has no targets, basically. There is no weakness in the white's position, so this is just game over. h5, king g2, rook e8, h4, just to allow any, not to allow any counterplay. Queen c8, and now a5, and the plan is very simple: just rook d7 and correct that pawn. So Nakamura stops it. He played a6, but now rook d7. Queen a8. As you can see, just Nakamura is moving around his queen, but no real plan here. The queen is just much weaker than the bishop and the rook. Rook d6 because of the terrible position of the king, which is here disaster. Rook d6, so targeting this pawn. Rook c8, bishop d4, and now the threat is very simple. If you just keep on waiting, you play rook f8, I just go rook a7, you go queen b8, and I take here. I will just put my bishop here, put here, and start push my pawns, and black has no counterplay whatsoever. So this is just completely game over. So after bishop d4, I played c3, Hikaru takes on c3, rook e8, bishop b6, and here Hikaru decided to resign because now this pawn will just march to c7, rook d8 will come. It's just completely over. So excellent game from Nisipeanu, who took the present from Nakamura, very unexpected present from a player of this strength, because he's very well prepared as well, and he played this move e5 in 20 seconds. So I don't know, I couldn't understand what he confused here, but that's just weird, and would be interesting to hear Hikaru explanations after the match. So tomorrow Hikaru has white, and basically is in must-win situation. So let's see how it goes, and if he managed to get to the tiebreak, then he has very good chances, because he's just one of the best player in Rapid and Blitz, being the number one these days in the Blitz rating. So let's see, it will be very exciting, and of course you can follow on our site, and it will be commentated by the great Jan Gustafsson and Laurent Trent. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you soon.